What would you do if you woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of a low, ominous rumble echoing through the hills surrounding your village? The kind of sound that makes your skin crawl, a deep guttural vibration that seems to reach into your chest and squeeze. A warning no one knew to heed, and you peek outside only to see the river beyond the dam swelling, angry, unnatural, like it's alive and searching for something to destroy. And in that very moment, a single crack, sharp and sudden, splits the silence, like thunder inside the walls of your home. And the next second, a low growl rises as the dam begins to give way, and you realize with a sinking horror that everything you thought was safe is about to vanish. Imagine the first screams piercing the night, children crying, pets barking, the wind whipping through trees and empty streets, and you are paralyzed, unable to run fast enough, unable to grasp the reality unfolding. And here's the chilling thought. Saw this coming. No warning sirens, no evacuation, nothing, just the dam, once a symbol of safety and stability, now transforming into a merciless agent of destruction. The water behind it, like a living force, hungry, crushing, unstoppable, and the fear, oh the fear, intensifies as darkness blankets the village. Shadows twisting in the moonlight, every flicker of movement a possible threat, debris tumbling downstream, and even the bravest hearts falter. Because this is the kind of terror that doesn't just affect the body, it burrows into your mind, making seconds stretch into eternity, making your pulse pound in rhythm with the roar of water. And let me ask you, have you ever experienced a moment when nature itself turns against you? The things you trust most, walls, rivers, dams, becoming instruments of chaos. And that's exactly what happened that night. A moment that erased generations, swept away homes, memories, lives, in a torrent of liquid fury. Unaware, scrambled for anything to cling to. Trees, debris, each other, parts racing, lungs burning, their own screams mixing with the monstrous roar. The river, a creature of nightmare unleashed, and the storm clouds above mirrored the destruction below. Lightning cutting across the black sky in blinding flashes, revealing the horror in stark, unforgiving detail. The sheer scale of devastation almost impossible to comprehend. And here's the haunting part. The first minutes counted the most. Decisions made in a split second between life and death. Which way to run, which roof to climb, which hand to grab. And for many, there was no escape. The water indifferent to struggle, indiscriminate in its destruction. And as the floodwaters surged through streets, homes, everything familiar, the emotional weight crushed those who survived. Survivors' guilt, disbelief, and the echoing memory of screams that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. Powerless, watching everything you've known swept away, your heart pounding as if to compete with the river itself. The darkness amplifying every sound, every movement, every horrifying realization. The night stretching endlessly, minutes becoming hours in perception, and the water showed no mercy, crushing anything in its path. Furniture, vehicles, even whole buildings carried away as if they were nothing. And the psychological horror, the helplessness, the terror, it all became almost unbearable. Because no one can truly prepare for a moment when their safe, familiar world turns into a nightmare. And the dam, the very structure they had trusted, the silent guardian of their lives, became the instrument of annihilation. A brutal reminder that human engineering can fail, that nature cannot be tamed fully. And when midnight strikes, the ordinary becomes extraordinary, the calm of life replaced by chaos, the darkness swallowing everything, screams echoing off hills, hitting every corner of the valley. And even those who managed to cling to life felt the icy grip of horror, the trauma that would follow, knowing that their village, a place of history, of memories, of generations, had been obliterated in hours. And for survivors, the nights were worst. Every rainstorm, every sound of rushing water, a brutal reminder. Nightmares that replayed, the memory of the river's fury vivid, unrelenting, and that is the power of such a disaster. The raw, unfiltered terror of seeing everything vanish in the span of a single night. The first 3 to 4 minutes of that event defining everything that came after. The panic, the instinctual scramble for survival. The moments where courage and despair collided. And as the river settled, leaving behind devastation, grief, debris, and silence, the village ceased to exist, a ghost of what it had been. And for those who survived, every memory carried the weight of horror, the knowledge that in the blink of an eye, life can change, safety can vanish, and the things we trust most can turn into instruments of chaos. And the rest of the story, The aftermath, the rescue, the grief, the rebuilding unfolds against this backdrop. But now let's go deeper, because the night didn't just take homes, it took dreams, it stole futures, families torn apart with children screaming, mothers and fathers trying to hold on to anything tangible, anything familiar. And as the debris slammed against structures, the villagers were forced to make impossible choices, deciding between saving their own lives or reaching out to loved ones. Split-second moral decisions while the water continued to rise. And even when the initial floodwaters receded, the destruction was unimaginable. Streets no longer recognizable, homes crushed beyond repair, livestock lost, memories obliterated, and the emotional aftermath compounded the horror. Depression, PTSD, survivor's guilt, haunting visions that would not leave the mind. Air itself carried a suffocating weight, the smell of mud, rotting debris, and water mixing with fear, trauma, and loss. And the dam itself, the object they had trusted, a monolithic wall, became a symbol of betrayal, a testament to the fragility of human constructs against the raw, untamable force of nature. And the local authorities later investigating the failure could only document the scale, the carnage, the emotional devastation, but no report could capture the psychological imprint on those who survived, the ghostly silence that lingered. And for months afterward, rainstorms would trigger panic. Even minor flooding caused the heart to race, triggers embedded in memory, proof of trauma that would not dissipate easily. And as reconstruction began, families faced not only physical rebuilding, but emotional, trying to reclaim a sense of safety, trust, and normalcy in a world that had proved how quickly it could be stripped away. And here's the truth. The first 3 to 4 minutes of chaos were just a prelude. The lasting horror, the questions of what if and could I have done more, haunted lives for years. The story passed on to children as cautionary tales. Tales that remind that nature can act without warning, that human life, fragile and finite, can vanish in hours. And the narrative, expanded now, reinforces that while the physical damage was catastrophic, the unseen horror, the psychological imprint, the fear, the anxiety, the memory of helplessness is what truly defines the event, making it unforgettable, chilling, and profoundly human. And that is why stories like this grip audiences worldwide, why they haunt, why they become content people cannot ignore. And as you reflect on the village, its vanished streets, its obliterated homes, its lost generations, you realize that life's illusion of control is just that, an illusion. And the dam, the river, the midnight hour, the unstoppable force of water, all combine to show how quickly stability can vanish, be shattered. And that, my friends, is the darkest, most chilling lesson of all. A story that should never be forgotten. A reminder of human vulnerability, the unpredictability of nature, the horror lurking behind structures we trust, and the emotional weight, the suspense, the terror, the loss, all magnified to its maximum potential, creating a narrative that is not only unforgettable, but deeply engaging, psychologically immersive, and perfect for anyone seeking the thrill of dark, high-stakes storytelling that both terrifies and fascinates. And as we close this tale, remember, the village may have disappeared, but the story, the lessons, the fear, the suspense remain forever, etched into memory, an eternal cautionary tale for all who hear it.